Good morning. It is Friday, April 29th. I'm Shane Seeley, and this is the CBC Morning Report. Some asthmatics are suffering in silence and are refusing to go for the necessary treatment for their condition. It's an issue that has been raised by the Barbados Association of Medical Practitioners right here on the Morning Report earlier this week. Here today on the show, we are going to get some answers and help some of those asthmatics out there. Also, we're going to help them determine when it's time to seek that emergency assistance. Emergency room physician Dr. Hilary Moore joins me live now to talk a bit about what's happening on the ground and what you should do in the event of an emergency. Good to have you back, Dr. Moore.
Good morning, everyone. Great to be back.
Talk to us about what's happening out there. These asthmatics suffering in silence, not having the adequate medication, and probably deciding to treat themselves at home because they're afraid to come to either the polyclinic or the accident and emergency department because of the existence of COVID-19.
The thing about it is, yes, COVID-19 made it worse, but this even existed before COVID-19. I think a lot of people have the belief, some people have nebulizers at home, that once I nebulize myself, I'll be fine. Therefore, they wait to the very last minute to actually get care, and sometimes that's way too late. The best thing you can use, yes, there's no problem having a nebulizer, but you really need to know how to use it, when not to use it. You also need to know how to manage yourself at home and how to detect when asthma attack early, as opposed to waiting until it's late and then you have all the complications that Dr. Williams was so concerned about, which does happen, and it's worse since COVID-19, as I have been told. Now, first thing first, asthma, I think people get this impression that asthma is not a chronic illness. Asthma is considered a chronic illness. So the same way that we will treat our chronic illness, our diabetes, our hypertension, we need to make sure we have all of our medications and know how to use them properly. Asthma is the same thing. When you have asthma, it's an element of your airways are always inflamed. Then sometimes they go into spasm, which then gives you what people call the asthma attack. In other words, when it gets significantly worse, as well as there's a lot of mucus production. I know a lot of people use their Ventolin inhalers, which is great, but I think one of the problems is that people don't know how to use the Ventolin inhaler properly. Believe it or not, all the studies are saying that even adults, sorry, I'm a little hoarse today, sinuses, even the adults should have a spacer when they're using their inhaler. Even adults that have had asthma for years, they realize are not using their asthma inhalers, particularly their Ventolin, properly. So
right.
this is an example.
We show our viewers the proper way to use these inhalers, because that's very critical. I want you to tell me about how often you're seeing people reporting what you would consider a bit too late with their symptoms from asthma.
Right. Well, for me personally, remember, I am not really in any American as much, but from the reports I was given, there are still more people presenting later than they would want, especially when you have resources available to you. One of the things that when people don't realize is that when you come and you're in a really severe asthmatic attack, it is extremely difficult to get you out of it. You know, what people do sometimes is, you know, they've been, especially if they've had their nebula, or even if they haven't had their inhalers, they're thinking, oh, it will pass. You know, one of the worst people says, I will try and sleep, and when I wake up, it will be a lot better. That really is not what happens. Usually what happens is that when you tell people you're going to sleep and wake up, it's better, you're generally a lot worse and you're in a worse condition. You know, people think that you should just wait till you hear severe reason before you go and seek care. That's not true. You know, there are other things you need to look for. Like when they're talking, they're only saying a few short words and then they have to breathe again. When they start using those muscles, you know, and they see all their neck muscles and all the muscles on their chest, you can literally see them contracting, then you know you're in problem. If you're coughing, you know, you just keep coughing because you don't only have to hear that wheezing. That constant, persistent cough is a sign that you're wheezing badly. You know, if you realize that you've used your inhaler and instead of getting better, you're getting worse, that might be a better time for you to start going to the hospital or the polyclinic or somewhere you can get emergency care, as opposed to waiting till it gets worse. Because if you're using your inhaler, it's not getting better, then there's a chance that it's not going to get better at home. You may need care.
And you were speaking now about using the inhaler correctly and the use of the spacer as well. So maybe you can show some of those asthmatics watching us here now what exactly they should be doing to try to ease their symptoms. Of course, this is not the solution if you're in an emergency situation.
Right? No, it isn't. But it is actually a good way to help you properly before you get to an emergency situation. So everybody knows there are all different types of spacers. You're just a spacer with an asthma inhaler. In a lot of cases, there's a face mask, which is for children. But believe it or not, when you pull off the face mask, this is the mouthpiece for adults. All right?
Right.
So all you need to do is you have a little space here. You put in your Ventolin inhaler. Everybody knows the blue inhaler. Put it in there nice and tight. And then you put this on your mouth. You spray it. You take 3 or 4 nice breaths in and out. Spray it again. You take 3 or 4 nice breaths. The reason why this is so much better is that you would realize, and I'm sure some of you have seen it, when people use an asthma inhaler, you see all of it misting at the sides, which means you're not getting the medication or the amount of medication that you need. Using this, having your mouth here and having it all in here, you're taking those deep breaths, you're ensuring that not only are you getting it, but it's also going into your lungs. Because sometimes people, and then they end up swallowing more of the medication than it actually goes into their lungs. This actually helps to reduce that significantly. Adults and children need to have one of these at home when they're actually using your Ventolin inhaler.
And there's some other inhalers, Dr. Moore, which we've heard that some of the patients, these asthma sufferers, are not walking with, which really do help them to maintain or to manage their condition.
Right. So to be honest, the other inhalers for the majority of people, except for if you have a beaker type cause the salbutamol or Ventolin makes your heart rate go way too fast, are usually your preventers. People generally have a preventer, which could be a steroid mixed with what we call a beta agonist to keep the airways open, that they're supposed to use maybe once a day or twice a day. Those ones you can actually leave at home. The problem is that people don't use them. I tell people the best way to remember to use your inhaler is put it by your toothbrush. You brush your teeth every morning, every evening. So if it's twice a day, morning and evening. And it's best if you use those and then brush your teeth. So it works. Or if it's just once a day, morning, or if you use it evening, whichever one, you have it by your toothpaste or your toothbrush so you always remember to use it. The salbutamol is the one that generally we want people to walk with when they're in crisis, that when they start to, feel the shortness of breath, the chest tightness, or the actual wheezing, that they have that on hand. What is happening too is people don't understand the difference between their preventer and their rescue inhaler. So sometimes you see people come in and they have their rescue inhaler, the one that they use as maintenance. And they say, oh no, but if I get an asthma attack, I'm going to use this. That's not true. You really need to also know your medications. The Ventolin, which is the blue one, as everybody likes to call it, that's your rescue that we have generally here. And the others are usually your preventers that you can leave at home morning and evening, but you really still should know the name of what you're taking. Also, what we're finding is a lot of people who do have COVID and are asthmatic are getting a bit worse. Not everyone, but it is happening. This is even more time that you need to be careful and know how to manage your asthma. Generally, when you go to your doctor, you should really be given an asthma action plan, which tells you how severe your asthma is and gives you a treatment plan for each level. For that, there's something called a peak flow meter. This is one here. This is just one brand. And what it has is it has different things here. So when you put your mouth at this end, you blow hard and as fast as possible. It's going to move this red piece. Now, we generally calculate what your peak flow should be by your age and your height. So when you see your doctor, they'll tell you, okay, this is what your peak flow should be. For some people, especially people who have asthma for a long time, they'll never meet their maximum. So what their doctor will do is a day when their chest is nice and clear, they're feeling well, they will check their peak flow, see where they are, because it may not be up to normal because of them. And then they start grading it as to which one is green light, you're fine, don't worry about it, you'll be great. You have your, what we call a zone between your yellow and your green, which is, you're not doing so well, you are having some bronchospasm. And the reason why this is good is that sometimes this can detect wheezing before you actually hear it or you start coughing. Then you have a plan of, say, 2 puffs every hour, 2 hours, depending on, how they want and how bad or severe and asthmatic you are. Then you have between your red and yellow, you have another zone where, okay, it's getting worse. you may up the amount of puffs with Ventolin and advise, if not improved after 4-6, head to the hospital. And then you have your red zone, which is usually below the red mark, and this is going to be set by your doctor to suit you as an individual. But with this, you're literally just taking some puffs as you head straight to the hospital. So this is a really good bit.
Yeah, unfortunately we are out of time, but thank you so much. Peak flow meter, that chamber, the spacer, and make sure that you have your inhalers, your Ventolin, and those other brands that are prescribed by your doctor. And Dr. Moore, thank you so much. This information is critical. Always good getting that from you. Congratulations on receiving your award yesterday, and you stay safe until next time we chat.
Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.
Dr. Hilary Moore, emergency room physician, speaking to me here on the Morning Report. We'll take a break and come back with those COVID-19 updates, local numbers topping the 400 mark yet again, and Russia bombs Kyiv despite the UN Secretary General being there. We'll look at these stories after the break. 432 people tested positive for COVID-19 on Wednesday here in Barbados. This is from 1,387 tests conducted by the Best dos Santos Public Health Laboratory. The cases consisted of 347 individuals who were 18 years and older. There were 110 people in isolation facilities, while 4,126 people were in home isolation. Under the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19, the total number of fully vaccinated people stands at 151,918. The United Nations has expressed astonishment after a Russian missile attack hit close to Secretary General Antonio Guterres as he visited Ukraine to help the evacuation of tens of thousands of civilians caught in mortal danger. Guterres and his team were shocked by the proximity of the Russian attacks that slammed into central Kyiv as they visited on Thursday, but they were all safe. The Secretary General continued his tour of the city.
A tour of the villages and towns north of Kyiv, where Russia is accused of committing war crimes. Starting in Borodyanka, where UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres saw for himself the scale of devastation.
There is no way a war can be acceptable in the 21st century. Look at that.
Borodyanka, like so many towns, was occupied by Russian forces and nearly flattened by their onslaught. Ukrainians say mass graves there are proof that Russian forces are committing atrocities. Then to Bucha, where bodies of civilians were found with hands tied behind their backs earlier this month, when Ukraine recaptured it from Russian forces. Guterres now asking Russia to help find those responsible.
I fully support the International Criminal Court, and I appeal to the Russian Federation to accept to cooperate with the International Criminal Court.
And to charred residential towers in Irpin, where there's been extensive damage.
Innocent civilians were living in these buildings. They were paying the highest price for a war for which they had not contributed at all.
Ukrainian officials were frustrated he visited Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow before Kyiv. Zelensky called it ambiguous to see the aggressor before the victims. The UN Secretary General has been unable to get the sides to see eye to eye, but wants to begin the negotiation process to stop a war that many Ukrainians had hoped the UN would prevent in the first place.
A real sad situation there. Let's come back home now to hear from Pearson to hear what he has for us on the Friday edition of Mornin Barbados. Pearson, it's over to you.
Thank you, Shane. Good morning to you and to everyone everywhere. This morning on Morning Barbados, when you join me at 6:30, we'll be looking at rabbit farming. Yeah, there is a move afoot to take the whole husbandry into schools, and so a number of gentlemen are already on island, and today they'll be visiting schools ahead of tomorrow's farmers market. So we'll talk a little about that. Rabbit farming. Also, we need to know our numbers, our cholesterol and blood pressure. There'll be checks, plus our ability to read and understand. All of that's the part of the focus at a medical facility on this next 2 weekends. We'll share that with you as well. And coming up on Monday is Labor Day. C2SAP has a big activity on. They'll join us this morning to talk to us a little bit more about that and perhaps some other things as well as relates to labor. That and a whole lot more when you join me at 6:30 for Morning Barbados. It's back to you, Shane.
Thank you, Pearson. And after the break, we'll take you back to yesterday's National Humanitarian Awards, and you'll get to take in a bit of cue as well, all here on the Morning Report. Prime Minister Mia Moore-Motley has pledged to give a $3 million token of appreciation to thousands who worked on the front line of the COVID-19 battle. She made the announcement at the inaugural National Humanitarian Awards yesterday. Wendy Burke was there and filed this report.
They were either involved in the medical field, the philanthropic, transportation, or construction side of things, but they all have been integral to Barbados' fight against COVID-19. The around 6,000 people have been saluted for their role, and Prime Minister Motley says they have helped minimize the lives lost to the virus and the impact of long COVID. However, she says more is to come.
It is always good to still have a token of appreciation to say thank you. And it is against that backdrop that my government, therefore, will honor you further with a token of appreciation to each and every one of you in this ceremony and in the second ceremony, with the sum of $500 a person as a modest token of appreciation to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
The head of the World Health Organization, who's here for the first time, has received an award from Barbados. He's congratulated all the awardees, noting their work is essential.
You and I both know that a leader can only achieve anything if they're supported by a great team. And so it gives me enormous pleasure to be here today to recognize the incredible contribution of Barbados' health workers. I offer each of you my deep respect, gratitude, and admiration.
Among those receiving awards, health officials, the former czar, nurses, and orderlies. Ms. Motley has also announced the media's contribution will be recognized during the next installation of awards.
You have been an essential part of this battle. Without communication, we could not reach the people of this nation. And therefore, we look forward to your holding special place on the second ceremony as well. My friends, today, Barbados not only says thank you, but we recommit to the battle.
Hip, hip. Hip, hip.
Wendy Burke, CBC News.
Now, after being sidelined for almost 2 years because of the COVID-19 pandemic, Q in the Community made its return in spectacular fashion. Shane Jones was just one of the many people in CBC's car park yesterday for the Heroes Day edition of Q.
Even before the gates opened, videographer Christopher Wood captured scores of patrons queuing up in eager anticipation of the first Q in the Community since 2020. They were armed with vaccination certificates for the fully vaccinated only event, which strictly adhered to the protocols and was closely watched by the COVID-19 monitoring unit. Once inside, the Q family was right at home, once again with smiles bursting through masks. The familiar scenes of Q in the Community flooded CBC's car park with great music from top DJs. Finger-licking food that was sweet right down to the bone. And of course, dancing. Many of the people we spoke to were overjoyed at Q's return.
I miss it, yeah. I've been attending Q now all the time. I was attending Q from the beginning. I like Q. I like the music.
Very, 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 very good feeling to be back at Q. And I really just enjoy Q. And especially when you see my friends, my brother approached me there just now. I said, Smoothie, the crew driver, my neighbor Chris. You know, it is just a good feeling to be back at Q all together.
If God then above, I feel I would have died. Especially when Thursday come. Look, I miss Q till even my foot went back hurting me. And look, and now I come out, man, the foot feel good enough. And I'm glad enough that Q open back. Because then the exercise would do me good with my foot, right? And look, Q, some people just quiet down. But it ain't nothing to cry down. It is the way how you carry along yourself. You understand? So I can tell everybody now I got back my Q, boy.
Carson Clark was one of the food vendors operating. He says he's thankful for the event.
We had a hard time 20 months without any work, and now the country is up and running again. It is always a good time. And to start with CBC Q is best.
CBC's sales and marketing coordinator, Alicia Hinson, said she was pleased to see all of the happy faces again, and they will be making some more decisions about Q very soon.
We will assess the first one, and we will then come back to the audience and tell them what will happen going forward. But we want to thank all of our sponsors for coming on board, the sponsors that worked with us before, and we had some new sponsors, and we want to say a big, big thank you to them, because without them we could not have had the coverage and the sanitization stations and everything that we have to ensure a safe event.
Q in the Community is scheduled to end at 11 p.m.
In other news further afield now, the Premier of the British Virgin Islands has been arrested in a sting operation in Miami on charges of conspiring to import cocaine into the U.S. and money laundering. The BVI Governor John Rankin confirmed in a statement that Andrew Fahey had been arrested on Thursday morning. Olivine Maynard, the managing director of the Caribbean Territories Port Authority was also detained in the operation in which DEA agents posed as cocaine traffickers from Mexico's Sinaloa cartel. Last year, the United Kingdom had set up a commission of inquiry into misgovernance in the British Overseas Territory, which has heard allegations of systemic corruption, cronyism, jury intimidation, and misuse of public funds. Let's look at some sporting news now. Rodman Powell and the Delhi Capitals defeated Sunil Narayan and Andre Russell's Kolkata Knight Riders by 4 wickets in yesterday's 41st match of the ongoing Indian Premier League at the Wakahidi Stadium in Mumbai. Chasing a target of 147 runs, the Capitals reached 150 for 6 in 19 overs, with David Warner registering 42 runs off 26 balls, but it was Powell who hit the match-winning 6 in his unbeaten 33 off 16 balls. KKR earlier posted 146 for 9 in their 20 overs, both Narayan and Russell going for ducks. Nitish Rana led the scores there with 57. Kuldeep Yadav took 4 for 14 in just 3 overs. That's sports. Time now to look at the weather. It's a little bit warmer than usual at this time, 27.2 degrees Celsius. It's cloudy and slightly hazy out there as well. The relative humidity is up there. 82% is where it stands right now. The barometric pressure is 11.1 millibars, and those winds are coming out of the east-southeast at 24 kilometers per hour. There will be a low tide at 9:03 this morning. A high tide will come our way around 3:27 in the afternoon. There will be another low tide later on tonight at 2 minutes after 9. The seas are moderate in open water. Swells are peaking around the 2.5 meter mark right now, but are expected to increase. Small craft operators and sea bathers, you know what to do. Please exercise caution. The forecast for Barbados today looks like this. We'll have a mix of sunshine and clouds with a few brief scattered light showers. And then tonight, a mix of clear skies and clouds with a few brief scattered light showers. And that's it for this edition of the CBC Morning Report, the Friday edition. I'm Shane Seeley. I'll see you at 12 with midday news, but before that, I'll see you at 7 with headline news. Up next is Pearson Bowen with Mornin Barbados.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning, Barbados, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning, 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 morning.
I too say morning to you and welcome everyone to today. Today is Friday, April the 29th, the day after National Heroes Day, the public holiday, but it's the end of the week, it's the day before the weekend begins, and it literally is the day the weekend begins for a number of people as well. I'm Pearson Bowen, welcoming all of you here in Barbados and across the globe to yet another edition of Morning Barbados. As always, grateful for your company, and I'm so thankful that you can keep your company with us. But remember, if you're on our social media platforms, feel free to always comment and interact with us there as well. Now today, children all, it's the end of the week, but yes, we still have another spell it, an opportunity for you to win with Pediasure. Some very easy words for you to choose from today, so look out for that opportunity coming up just after the news at 7. Also today, we'll be looking at the upcoming series, TV series, From Grass to Masterclass. The producer-presenter of that, Sean Green, will join us as we get ready to bring that to you, and we'll again appeal to a number of you who have children who are fascinated by the sport of cricket, who need some coaching in cricket to enter, be a part of that program From Grass to Masterclass. Tomorrow is International Jazz Day. The Barbados Jazz Society is having a range of activities, and certainly we want to hear from them how they'll be celebrating. We want to hear more about how they can bring the whole structure of jazz to a greater audience in our society. Monday is Labor Day. That's because on Sunday, May the 1st is a Sunday, so the public holiday is naturally on the Monday. And so C2SAB is having a big concert in the Freedom Park, Golden Square Freedom Park on Monday, a big rally, cultural extravaganza. We want to tell you more about that as well. Health and education, a collaboration with the Sandy Crest Medical Center, starts tomorrow for the next couple of weekends. You'll hear more about that as well. So every good reason and every great reason for you to stay right through with us here this morning, as always, on Morning Barbados. But how many of you are into rabbit farming? How many of you really? I'm being very serious when I ask that question, because there are a couple of men who are on the island and they're moving agri-tech and looking at the whole question of rabbit farming. And so we want to introduce you this morning to the gentlemen who will be leading a workshop today and tomorrow, Sean Austin and Sean McLean. Good morning to you, Sean's.
Morning, sir. Morning, morning.
Good morning indeed. Now, I will go Austin or McLean because to simply say Sean, I'm just going to mess everybody all up. So let's start with you, Austin. Let's talk a little bit about rabbit farming. And because you're from Trinidad, so naturally it seems to me to be a thing that's done in Trinidad. What do you know about rabbit farming in Barbados and how prevalent is it?
Hi, morning, sir. Thanks for having us. First off, let's just say it's an honor and a privilege to be here in Barbados with you guys. We are really looking forward to sharing our knowledge and experience with the local farmers to help them to take their farms from A to Z. You know, in Trinidad, like most of the Caribbean, rabbit farming is a small sector. But over the years, we have been spearheading the movement to make rabbit meat as common as chicken on the dinner table. So part of our plan for being here is to form a coalition of rabbit farmers throughout the Caribbean where we can make rabbit meat a force to be reckoned with in that sector.
It's, I don't know, perhaps for me it is. It's an acquired taste. I have not had it before, so I must confess I have no clue as to what it tastes like. Can you liken it to a familiar meat product that we already know that gives me a sense of what rabbit meat tastes like?
Well, Pearson, the thing about rabbit meat is that it doesn't have any overpowering flavor, so you can more or less cook it any way that you desire. A lot of people liken it to chicken breast.
Okay.
So in that way, you can cook it any way that you can prepare chicken.
All right. But the care and the rare of, because you're using technology in what you do, and perhaps this is where you can come in, McLean, where you can give us a sense of how one raises the rabbit and how can one raise it, you know, safely so that we can feel that when we consume the meat that we are not consuming other things as well.
Well, morning again. Excellent question, because with rearing rabbits, as with some of the other small animals that you may rear, right, there's a lot of technology that can be employed in doing it. Right, for us in particular, we focus heavily on our operational practices and adding technology to that, so that persons who are interested in rabbit farming get a full idea of how it is done and how it is done properly. So, for example, record keeping proper records in terms of how you manage your rabbitry. That's very important. Your sanitation practices, you know, very important in terms of the quality of the rabbit meat that you'll be producing. You know, technology. We brought along a lot of technology, especially for persons who may want to start off small and we want to upscale to a more commercial type setting. You know, hence the reason for us being here for the Agritech expo that is going to be on tomorrow. We want to share some of our experiences, share some of our knowledge so that we could assist these farmers in ensuring that the quality of the rabbit meat that they produce is of high quality, so that we could really move rabbit meat from being a niche market or acquired taste to something that is everyday and available in all the groceries throughout the region.
Give us a sense then of your experience of which you're just speaking, because this is something you've been doing for a little while now. What's been innovative, and how have people responded to that innovation by the way that you raise rabbits?
Yeah, well, we've been doing this for over 10 years, you know, as a partnership, you know, and probably 20 years before that, you know. Innovation and technology has helped a lot. As simple as the way you house your rabbits. Conventionally, people would use wooden cages with wire. Well, we have gone away from that because of certain diseases, and it makes it more difficult when you're sanitizing your rabbitry. So we have gone to metal and plastic in terms of how our cages are situated, how it is built. This helps a lot in terms of the sanitation. We've also technology like the automatic watering systems that makes the task or the job of rearing rabbits a lot easier. You know, so we've seen a lot of persons at different stages in their life actually get into rabbit farming, whereas we always focus on youth in terms of young people seeing the entrepreneurial value and coming into rabbit farming and other types of farming. We also see a lot of our more citizens, persons who at a stage in their life where they probably want to diversify and get into something new, choosing rabbit farming because of the technology that helps them in terms of how they operate their rabbitry.
Mm-hmm. No, Austin, he just used the word youth, and that's what you're going to be doing today. You'll be taking some time out to visit some schools. For a lot of children, younger people, a rabbit is a friend. A rabbit is just a thing that I have that I cuddle with. But now you're asking them to not just see it as such, but to see the opportunity for that rabbit that you love so dearly to also be a means of income. So when you meet with schools today, what is it that you're taking to the children of Barbados so that you can help them understand the business of rabbit husbandry?
Okay, well, first of all, what we are seeing across the Caribbean and the globe right now is a paradigm shift in terms of the mindset as regards to rabbit meat. Long ago, we only ate what our parents prepared for us. But what we are seeing nowadays, we have a lot more open-minded parents, and children coming up now are more willing to try new things, you know. So our approach has always been to empower the youth and to show them the value, the entrepreneurial value, you know, because conventionally, we don't look at agriculture as a business. You know, we're always taught to study hard, get good grades so we can get a good job. But what we are trying to show the youth and the children coming up is that you can use agriculture as a vehicle to take you to financial freedom. So as long as we focus on that, I think persons are more open to that aspect. So even if they don't consume the meat, they can still look at it as a viable business opportunity.
That's brilliant. Now, I've read that your rabbitry and aquaponics produce, you've exported about 60 purebred rabbits throughout the region. What spurred that initiative, and what are you hoping to get out of that initiative?
Well, again, it really was a shift in even how, our pivot, I should say, even how we conducted our business. You know, within the last couple of years, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we saw a lot of people not just consuming rabbit meat, but actually going into the rabbit rearing business, right? So that created a demand for people to be able to start with the right tools, as we always say, start right. So having purebred quality rabbit stock is an important part, is the most fundamental step you could start with in terms of how you may want to manage your rabbitry. So our vision for that really was to help those who are now coming into the business start right, you know, from that perspective in terms of the work that they have, and then of course to follow on with the operational practices.
We know that oftentimes when demand increases, some people sometimes take shortcuts, and that's what oftentimes the market is so afraid of. What assurances can you give to us that this process that you're sharing with us through Agritech is one for which the consumer should not be afraid, and not to feel as though shortcuts have been taken because they wanted to improve and increase yield?
Well, just our experience and how we conduct business, you know, those are people who will follow us like on our YouTube channel. they will have a great appreciation for our methodology and how we conduct business. We always believe in doing things the right way. You know, that is the reason why we share so much of our experiences, so that persons don't have to make the same mistakes we would have made over the years in getting to where we are. You know, so shortcuts is never something that you want to, a road you want to, in the long run, it usually causes inefficiencies and costs more. And then the confidence of the market, you know, in a business where we're trying to make rabbit meat as commonplace as chicken, we're not taking shortcuts. We're doing it the right way to build the business from the ground up, so that the consumers can have confidence in the meat that they consume.
And so this workshop that you're having is critical to us understanding the processes and the things that are critical to do it the right way. Yeah. Where is the workshop? How is the workshop? Is it only for children?
No. The workshop was advertised and opened to all persons of Barbados. The venue is at Kensington Oval, and at this time I think the workshop has been sold out at approximately 140 participants. We'll be sharing a lot of nuggets with these guys there. Anyone who wants to get into rabbit farming and make it a successful business, you know, you should, well, it's too late to get in now, but the ones who are there, I can guarantee you they're going to come out changed from the information that we're going to be sharing there.
Now, that means tomorrow at the Kensington Oval, I just saw the flyer there for just a moment, that's where you're going to be pretty much for the entire day, and it's a chance for farmers to come and be a part of the farmers market. It's also going to be an opportunity for people to come and peer to learn more, to engage with, to really get their feet settled into animal husbandry through the use and the rearing of rabbits. So when we come tomorrow, you're on the western concourse of the Kensington Oval. Explain for me, paint me the picture of how it's all laid out and how people are going to engage with the activity tomorrow.
Well, there would be the workshop, which is separate and apart from the farmers market. So there is two activities, right? So the peer-to-peer market side of it, we're really encouraging all the participants who will be there to engage and really to merge the technology with the farming. So there'll be a lot on display. A lot of companies will be there who deal specifically with technology geared towards agriculture. At this time, we want to have a special mention for ProCage, one of our major sponsors and contributors to us being here on the island. And then will be the workshop where we will be sharing our experiences with the participants. There will be a question and answer section also, where we can engage with persons, and persons will be able to ask questions and get a better feel for the information that we'll be disseminating.
Novel, that's where the peer-to-peer market will be. It's an opportunity for all of you. Bring the children, bring the entire family, bring everybody down. And if you've not yet started your rabbit husbandry, perhaps you can get to know more about how you can get involved in it as well. So it's going to be quite an opportunity, not just to, as the Prime Minister loves to say, put money in your pocket, but also to be able to expand your business and to do so in a very technologically savvy way as well with these gentlemen, Sean Austin and Sean McLean. I wish to thank you so much for bringing your expertise in your animal husbandry to rabbits to Barbados, and to be able to interact tomorrow at Kensington Oval with our farmers here and our children as well. All much success to all of this as we go. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
You are very welcome. There they go, Sean by two. Sean Austin, Sean McLean, both rearers of rabbit, and they're here to share from that experience tomorrow at Kensington Oval. Today, with the children. We'll take a break right here, and we're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Now we have 14 minutes to go to the hour of 7 o'clock on this Friday edition of Morning Barbados. Have you ever heard of Bright Sparks? I'm serious. Have you ever heard of it? I know you've heard the phrase, but let me introduce you now to the director of Bright Sparks. Yes, there's an organization by that name. His name is Brandon Dowell. Brandon, good morning to you.
Good morning, Pearson.
Fantastic Friday. Bright Sparks. I hear he is all brightly beaming on a Friday morning. Tell us about Bright Sparks first of all. What's the organization about?
Bright Sparks is a tutoring agency in Barbados. We offer reading and English and math programs for students between the ages of 7 to 11. We also have a secondary school program, and we specialize in subjects such as business studies and sciences, math, and English as well.
Okay, so you're into education and aiding education. Education is broadest sense, because over the next couple of weekends, you're going to be having that education coupled with one knowing more about one's health as well. Tell us a bit about the initiative and what you're hoping to achieve through it.
Okay, so as an education company, we want to do more than just teach those basic subjects. We want to put a greater emphasis on the student as a whole. And one of those parameters which we want to really develop is health. And we have a pop-up tomorrow where we're going to be doing reading assessments along with health checks in Sheraton Mall from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then we're also going to be in Sky Mall the next week on March 7th. And we're going to also be doing the same thing again.
All right, so you're coupling health and education. So you're saying I can come and know my numbers, health checking through my cholesterol checks, my blood pressure checks, and the like. But I can also come and check my reading and just how adept I am at mathematics as well. So how do you intend to do that? What do I come with, if I come with anything at all? And is it open to everyone, or is it only open to school children?
So it's open to the general public. And we are only going to be doing blood pressure and blood sugar checks. And we're only going to be doing reading assessments. Mm-hmm. Our greatest focus right now is reading. We noticed in the pandemic, the reading level and literacy of students has unfortunately decreased. And we want to be a catalyst of change for that. Also, something that we are offering currently at our location in Club Morgan, we're going to be doing free reading assessments for all students for the remainder of the year.
Just out of curiosity, how is a reading assessment done? Is it how fluent I am, whether I made any mistakes, whether I understand punctuation? What's a reading assessment?
Yeah, so it's really a reading level assessment. There are certain parameters which a child should cover by a certain age, and different levels which there are different skills which children should be able to display at a certain age. For example, at age 7, we should have a lot of skills where reading is concerned, and the assessment would basically just let you know where the student is at, where reading is concerned.
And then be able to apply intervention techniques to be able to address any deficiencies or discrepancies where that's concerned. But you know, we also have some reading discrepancies in older people too. So is that an opportunity while the parent is there with the child, getting their other checks, that they too can themselves get an assessment of their ability to read?
Unfortunately, no, Pearson. We're only focusing on the kids.
Listen. Okay, fair enough, but I'm hopeful that over time there's an opportunity for that adult to be able to know where they are, because oftentimes we assume that as one ages that one should know, and sometimes one does not. And so to be able to improve on that deficiency is also going to be critical. So there's a twinning of education and health. So there are a number of organizations, I would suppose, who are going to be working along with you to be able to make this a reality. Can you share that with us?
Yes, most definitely. So the first organization which will be aiding in health checks is Sinacrest Medical Center. Sinacrest will be sponsoring nurses and the equipment to facilitate the blood pressure and blood sugar testing. Also, in terms of the reading program, we've gotten help from the Amarone Charitable Trust in sponsoring students to learn to read as well for free.
So that's what it's going to be. Folks, there are a number of people who are working along with Bright Sparks to be able to assist where this is concerned, from the medical to the educational as well. And just so we're clear on the medical part of it, it's going to be a check of the blood pressure and the blood sugar. And it's important to know the numbers, ladies and gentlemen. It is so, I'm telling you, from my own experience, it's so critical to know the numbers. So oftentimes we walk along and we assume we're okay. And there are things happening within our cellular systems that we're not okay. And so to be able to identify those as quickly as possible and to have some intervention is what you're offering to me tomorrow at Sheraton. That's where you're going to be from about 11 in the morning till about 5. And you're doing this over 2 weeks, or is this going to be an ongoing campaign?
So we're only doing 2 weeks. Tomorrow is going to be strictly reading assessments. And then next week in Sky Mall is where we're going to be doing the combination of the health and education with the blood sugar and blood pressure testing.
So tomorrow is only reading. Next week is going to be health and education. All right, so tomorrow is just reading. Where exactly in the mall will you be so that when people come, they don't have to wander all through if they don't have to, so that they can find you?
Yeah, so we're going to have some signage and we're going to be very active and present in the mall, but we're going to be located near iMart.
Okay, yeah, I have it in my head. I'm just working on the location right here in my head. I know we're now in the mall, Sheraton, where you will be. So you'll be in that area. We come up, and of course, protocols observed and all the like. And what's the process like? I turn up and I say, okay, hi, I'm Pearson Bowen. I get my name on the list and I stand in line. I'm number 28. And I wait to be called up for my assessment?
No, sir. So hopefully we have enough staff on hand. There's not going to be any wait time. We have multiple equipment where the reading assessment is concerned. And we're going to have some space as well that we can space so that everyone's going to be accommodated in a good fashion. All you would have to do is just come. You know, you will say you're coming for a reading or blood pressure, blood sugar assessment, and one of our staff will be more than happy to help you.
All right. Tomorrow's just reading, folks. So get confused. Tomorrow's just reading. The blood pressure stuff is next week. Tomorrow, so tomorrow, you know, a lot of times we are hesitant to display for anybody our inability to read fluently, to read correctly, to read, you know, in the best way that will make everyone, mommy and daddy, proud. So what guarantees are you going to be able to give to me so that I don't feel as though I'm lesser a person if I don't quite get it right? What kinds of assurances, how does it work? What kind of counseling are you going to give to me to boost my confidence at the end of it all?
So as far as we have multiple reading specialists, we actually invest heavily in training in reading. We actually have a program with the Inter-American Development Bank where they actually train our tutors in reading, you know, and teaching all the skills required for reading. With that being said, when we do our assessment, when they do their assessment, my apologies, we also give you an intervention plan where all hope is not lost where reading is concerned. Once you come with us, you're in great hands where those things are concerned. And our intervention plans have been working for years, and they're in good hands. There's no need to be a fearful person. It's important to know where you're at, and then we will work to get you where you need to be.
But you know, we're shy people. Nobody, you know, we don't embarrass ourselves in front of other people. So I'm asking essentially, how private will it be for each person who has been assessed so that you don't walk away feeling as though, oh my gosh, I was made to look a fool in front of all of these people who are watching and I was number one, I went first. How do you allay those fears and concerns?
Well, the assessment, when you finish the assessment, because it's an automatic assessment, so we actually use the Oxford University Reading Level Assessment. That's why I wasn't really able to give you much of the back end, because it's more something that we partner to provide. However, when that assessment comes to our tutor, it comes to the email. So even if you do it live, it's gonna come direct to email, so you can read it on the side. You know, you can know where you're at there. It doesn't need to be such an embarrassing moment. And even so, not knowing where education is concerned is not embarrassing. I think we always have this mindset whereby if we don't know it, we're going to be embarrassed. When truthfully, not knowing is an opportunity to learn. You know, and that's what we're about. We don't really condemn students for mistakes and those things, because mistakes are opportunities to learn. And I think it's important to navigate away from that culture embarrassment from not knowing where education is concerned.
I'm glad to hear that, because some would say that's easy for you to say. You're good at it. But you're saying to us, don't be afraid. Just knowing is empowering. And in knowing that there is also the opportunity for someone to intervene and to help you be better should be a comforting and comfortable reason for you to step forward. So it's a safe environment. It's one where you're not going to be embarrassed. We're just trying to test your level of competence so that we can step in and help. Bright Sparks, not me, but your organization can step in and help where the help is most critically needed. And it's important to be able to read, because reading is in everything we do in life. We read labels, we read price tags, we read signage, we read. And so to be able to understand concepts and so when it comes to reading is absolutely important. That's where Bright Sparks assists. So
yes, sir.
outside of the assessment overall, Bright Spark, you're not a school, are you?
Well, actually, we are opening a primary school in September 2022. But I wasn't going to disclose that one as yet. But you got me. You got me.
Yeah, I can see it was coming through your eyes even before you said it. That's why I had to ask. So coming through very soon, an opportunity for a little bit more structured a space for you to be able to benefit from the expertise of Bright Sparks. But for now, you're quite competent as a team to be able to step in and step up so that we can move to a point where our society is far more competent at reading, and this is where it starts. Tomorrow at Sheraton Center from 11 in the morning till 5. And then in the following week, because I want to get people now queued up on that one, the following week we are moving to the other mall, Sky Mall. And that's where you're going to be in the same hours, 11 to 5?
Yes, sir.
All right. And this is where now the health component comes in. So this is the appeal now for the adult as well to come know their numbers, their blood pressure and blood sugar checks as well, done by the medical facility at Sandy Crest. The nurses there from Sandy Crest. So it seems all encompassing, all inclusive. The healthier a nation is, the better the nation is, and the better the nation is at reading, the better the nation is at being able to, as a society, to be competent and efficient in running that society as well. How long have you been now operating Bright Sparks, by the way?
Bright Sparks is 7 years old.
He says that with such pride, I can hear it. How large is the operation? How many people do you have with you?
I don't necessarily want to disclose those numbers, but we are the largest touring company in Barbados. I don't really want to disclose those numbers right now.
That's all right. So folks know, he has a team of people behind him. It's not just Brandon alone. It's a team of people who are working really to effect reading efficiency and better reading indeed on our island with our children. And hopefully very soon they'll be assessing the adults so that adults can also have that level of intervention, because we don't want to sit in ignorance till thy kingdom come. So Brandon, I want to thank you so very much for joining us this morning. Brandon Dowell, who is the director of Bright Sparks. We got a little bit of a scoop this morning because coming very soon more from Bright Sparks. But certainly this weekend, tomorrow, Saturday at the Sheraton Mall from 11 to 5. Look for him near to the iMart location. That's where they'll be to do some reading assessments and then some reading intervention as well, providing you the opportunity to improve on your reading. And then the following weekend, next weekend at Sky Mall, where they'll be for the same hours, 11 till 5. They'll be doing reading assessments and also assessments of your blood sugar and blood pressure checks as well, free of cost. So we're looking forward to much success with this, Brandon. Thank you so much for joining us, and I wish you only the very best.
Same to you, President. Thank you.
You're very welcome. We'll take a break right here on Morning Barbados, and we're back with more in just a moment.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Let's get an update on the news now. Once again, here's Shane Seeley.
Thank you, Pearson. Here's your headline news for this Friday morning. A pledge from the Prime Minister on National Heroes Day. She has promised Mia Moore-Motley, our Prime Minister, to give a $3 million token of appreciation to thousands who worked on the front lines of the COVID-19 battle. She made the announcement at the inaugural National Humanitarian Awards yesterday. Wendy Burke reports.
They were either involved in the medical field, the philanthropic, transportation, or construction side of things, but they all have been integral to Barbados' fight against COVID-19. The around 6,000 people have been saluted for their role, and Prime Minister Motley says they have helped minimize the lives lost to the virus and the impact of long COVID. However, she says more is to come.
It is always good to still have a token of appreciation to say thank you. And it is against that backdrop that my government, therefore, will honor you further with a token of appreciation to each and every one of you in this ceremony and in the second ceremony, with the sum of $500 a person as a modest token of appreciation to say thank you, thank you, thank you.
The head of the World Health Organization, who's here for the first time, has received an award from Barbados. He's congratulated all the awardees, noting their work is essential.
You and I both know that a leader can only achieve anything if they're supported by a great team. And so it gives me enormous pleasure to be here today to recognize the incredible contribution of Barbados' health workers. I offer each of you my deep respect, gratitude, and admiration.
Among those receiving awards, health officials, the former czar, nurses, and orderlies. Ms. Motley has also announced the media's contribution will be recognized during the next installation of awards.
You have been an essential part of this battle. Without communication, we could not reach the people of this nation. And therefore, we look forward to your holding special place on the second ceremony as well. My friends, today, Barbados not only says thank you, but we recommit to the battle.
Hip, hip. Hip, hip.
Wendy Burke, CBC News.
Let's look at the local COVID-19 situation now. 432 new cases. That's what was recorded on Wednesday. These are from 1,387 tests conducted by the Best dos Santos Public Health Lab. The cases consisted of 347 individuals who are 18 years and older. There were 110 people in isolation facilities and 4,126 people in home isolation. Under the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19, 151,000 plus people are fully vaccinated. Now, this breaking story coming from the BVI. The acting Premier of the British Virgin Islands, Dr. Natalio Wheatley, has assured the territory remains committed to good governance following the arrest of the Premier, Andrew Foy, in the U.S. The Premier, along with the head of the BVI Ports Authority, were arrested in Miami by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration on alleged charges of conspiracy to import cocaine and money laundering. Maynard's son was arrested in connection with the case, but not in Miami. The emergency meeting is also, this is an emergency meeting which is also to be held today with the acting Premier, the Governor, and the UK Overseas Territory Minister Amanda Milling to discuss circumstances surrounding the Premier's arrest. Dr. Wheatley urged the people of the territory to afford Mr. Foy and Maynard due process in the U.S. Court of Law.
I cannot comment further on the arrest as it is an active investigation, but I urge calm and patience. Regarding the Commission of Inquiry report, the Governor has informed Cabinet that he will be publishing the report very soon in light of today's events. There's no doubt that persons will seek to read the report and view it in the context of the recent arrests. However, as the governor has said, the two are not connected. I urge the public to read the report with an objective eye in terms of strengthening our systems of government under a democratic framework of governance, as opposed to draconian measures that would set back the historical constitutional progress we have made as a people.
It's a story we will continue to follow. We will bring you more details as they become available. And that's our time this morning. I'm Shane Seeley. It's back over to you, Pearson.
Thank you, Shane. We'll take a break right here. When we come back, children all, time for you to call to spell it. Stay with us for that and a whole lot more after this.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's time for Spell It with Pediasure. Are you going to spell it in 30 seconds?
So it's 9 minutes now after 7 o'clock. Can you spell it correctly within 30 seconds? It's brought to you in association with Pediasure. This is where you young ones, very young ones, you can call to on 228-5562 or 228-5563. Those are the numbers to call for a chance to spell it correctly. I'll give you a word and you'll get the chance to spell it. And of course, you're going to be winning with Pediasure. Pediasure is fantastic. It provides complete and balanced nutrition for those little bodies that they may need for muscle and bone development, brain and eye health, and immune support. Pediasure is available in your supermarkets. And of course, you can get it in at least 3 different flavors that I'm aware of: vanilla, strawberry, or chocolate. And they are going to love it. It's almost like a meal replacement of sorts. So do get it today. Pediasure on the island nationwide. So call me now. 228-5562 or 228-5563. Let me give you a word. Let me see if you can spell it correctly. Good morning to you. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello, how are you?
Pardon me?
Are you there? Hello?
Hello?
Hi, good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
You're well, thank you. What's your first name?
Caleb.
Sorry?
Caleb.
Caleb. Caleb, I'd like you to speak as loudly as you possibly can, okay?
Okay.
And Caleb, do me a favor. Do not listen to the TV. Listen to your telephone only. That's where my voice is, okay? So just listen to your phone, Caleb. How old are you, Caleb?
9 years old.
Ah, just a year older than I am. What school do you go to, Caleb? Caleb?
Yes, please.
Don't listen to the TV. Do not. It'll confuse you. So just listen to the telephone. What school do you go to?
We go to St. Paul's Primary School.
Help me forward. Say it. Caleb?
Yes, please.
What school is it?
St. Paul's Primary School.
Okay. St. Thomas Primary School. Okay, Caleb. All right, fine. Now let me see. Are you really good at spelling, do you think?
Yes, please.
Good. Caleb, I have a word for you. It's an easy word for you to spell, Caleb. Can you spell the word technology? Technology. Technology. Can you spell it?
Yes, please.
Go ahead. Let me hear you.
Technology.
Spell it again.
Technology.
Spell it again.
Technology.
Caleb, you're such a good sport. Caleb, absolutely right. Technology. That's a big word. Let me see how many letters are those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just as many letters as you are old. Caleb, well done. Very proud of you. Who's your teacher in your form?
Pardon me?
Who's your form teacher? Oh, sorry, class teacher?
Mr. Brown.
Oh, Mr. Brown. Well done, Caleb. Mr. Brown must be very, very proud of you this morning. So, Caleb, don't put down the phone. You stay right there. We'll take some more information from you because you've won today in spelling correctly technology. He's won with Pediasure. Remember, folks, Pediasure Head Out today. It's really going to do your children's body good for muscle and tone and bone development, brain and eye health, and immune support. Pediasure coming in vanilla, strawberry or chocolate flavors. They're going to love it, and most of all, they will love you for it. So buy your Pediasure today. We're going to take a break here. We're coming right back with more on Morning Barbados.
That was Spell It, brought to you in association with Pediasure.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Approaching 16 minutes after 7 o'clock now. As we know, Labor Day, we know May 1st. Traditionally is Labor Day there, and once a public holiday falls on a Sunday, then that public holiday is taken on the Monday. And that's where it will be this coming Monday, the big celebration of Labor in the Golden Square Freedom Park. And so as they mark their 25th anniversary as an organization, the Congress of Trade Unions and Associations of Barbados are for the first time hosting Labor Day movement activities there in Golden Square Freedom Park in the city. Joining us to talk about what we can expect this coming Monday, part of that celebration, is Dennis DePisa, who is the General Secretary of C2SAB, and the President of C2SAB himself, Mr. Edwin O'Neill. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, sir, and good morning to all of Barbados.
Indeed. Congratulations on your silver anniversary as an organization, the Congress of Trade Unions of Staff Associations of Barbados. Well done. You've done a lot of work for labor over the years. So before we get into talk about Monday's celebrations, paint me the status of labor and the labor movement in Barbados at this time. Mr. O'Neill, I'll start with you.
Okay, so thank you. Anytime we talk about today's labor movement, we can't but go back to where it all began, 1937. As colonial vassals were, the only status we had as a nation and as a people was to provide the raw materials for the metropole. Naturally, that did not allow for fairness, justice, equality. The strike or the action for recognition as a people, as a nation, would have begun in many colonial possessions with riots, insurrections, etc., revolutions. So I make bold to say that every social benefit that the population of Barbados enjoys today, whether improved housing, access to quote-unquote free education, health care, all began with the agitation of workers for a piece of the pie, which over the years we've built on, and today we have the kind of society that we have. There's more to be done. Now, there are a number of persons who don't recognize and actually make the link between our development as a society and the position of labor today. And that may be because there is no longer the revolutionary zeal. That may be because succeeding generations have grown comfortable with what we have inherited. As such, some of the very beneficiaries of labor are now taking pot shots at the movement as a whole. So today, labor is fighting for survival because we are under threat from several agencies, from several quarters. But if we are to remain faithful and true to the sacrifices of the 1937 heroes, then we, as the successors, we as the inheritors of their dreams, must fight, and fight assiduously, not only to make ourselves relevant, but to carry the dreams that they had further, so that we too, in turn, leave a more egalitarian, a more fair, a more just society for those who are going to succeed us.
And that's where the activity will be on Monday, yes, in Freedom Square, where we're talking about agitate but do not violate. You're quite right when you say that some have grown comfortable. So if you can share with us today, what are some of the pressing concerns that the labor movement is addressing? Because there's some who also hold the view, but there's nothing to fight about. Everybody seems quite happy. So what's pressing that the labor movement has to and is seeking to be addressed?
I think that the fight today is not just about labor versus capital. I think that we have grown to the point that labor is now integral into the very nature, the very essence of what our society is. So when the nation of Barbados is in the fight of its life to survive and to cope with life as we know it, it really, just last week, and I digress a bit to more properly illustrate the point I'm making. Earlier this week, we as a delegation would have met with officials of the World Trade Order, WTO. And their submissions were essentially that Barbados, its system of taxation, its system of social reform, now has to be brought in line with other parts of the world. My argument has been that if we follow that, we are really planting the seeds for our own destruction. And so, when you ask me the question, what are the challenges facing labor today? I think at a very broad sense, and I am prepared and can speak to it in a more narrow perspective. But the challenge facing Labour today is for the country of Barbados to survive as we know it, as a nation state, as a nation of people who want to make its mark on the world community, as a nation who, though small in size, has as much integrity and as much validity as what the bigger countries bring, because we are a part of the global village, we are part of the community of nations, and if one were to put things in true perspective, that really is what the United Nations is about.
Mm-hmm.
The capacity and the ability for every nation, irrespective of size, irrespective of population, to have a voice in international and global affairs.
Mr. De Pisa, from where you sit as General Secretary, we've known the social partnership. And in that social partnership, there's a level of understanding about an agreement between gentlemen and ladies about how we settle our affairs on the island as well. Talk to me about its relevance today, and what else do you think is to be brought to the table to strengthen that partnership?
Thanks for the question, Pearson. Let's say that the social partnership, in my view, is still relevant as it was from the inception, but the problem is that the working of it has not been what we would want to put in the context of being ideal. We are still at the point where we believe that the question or the whole idea of dialogue, consultation in particular, remains very, very cosmetic. There are issues abound, and if those are not addressed, then Labour is not playing an integral role as it is expected to do, and by extension, the partnership is not really, as I would say, responsive to the issues of the day because of the fact that there is not the level of consultation and dialogue that is required. And that pans out itself not only at the level of the social partnership, but when we speak to the social partnership, we speak to all the stakeholders. And the behavior of the stakeholders, sometimes where we have sense of unilateral behavior or level of disrespect for the other partners engaging with them, that provides or presents a problem for us, basically because we are lacking the courtesies and we are lacking the commitment to follow the tenets of good practices in terms of our consultation, in terms of our governance, and even in terms of our management. So we have to deal with that issue, address it, and put it in the perspective that it ought to be, so that we continue along the path of what we started, of seeking to consult and to ensure that as partners we are in the whole process of engagement towards ensuring that our country can be properly governed and managed, where all interests are able to come to the table and to speak to issues and come to some level of understanding, even although we may not always agree and we do not have a perfect world where we all may have a position where we can say that there is 100% in terms of how we perceive and how we want to move forward. But certainly we can have the understanding that underpin how we should progress as a nation.
I don't want the time to get away from me without giving you guys an opportunity to talk to us about what's happening on Monday. So Monday, Golden Square Freedom Park comes alive for a couple hours from 3 in the afternoon until 6. This is where the real major day, Labor Day celebrations will unfold. Give us a sense then, Mr. De Pisa, starting with you, about what's going to happen on that day and how different it is from what we've experienced before.
I'm happy to hear you say the real Labor Day activity, and that's where it will be. It would be at the Golden Square Freedom Park. We are obviously reflecting, remembering the work and the legacy of the Right Excellent campaign, and therefore we're going to be able to present to you our May Day address from our President, Evan O'Neill. Yes, we will have our Honourable Minister of Labour and Social Security and the third sector, the Honorable Corbin Jordan will deliver an address, and also Mrs. Trisha Dennis, the head of the Private Sector Association. What is different? All of the member organizations, the leaders of those member organizations of CUSAB will be also addressing the audience. But I can assure you it's not all talk. It's a day filled of mixture of entertainment and our presentations as we educate. We want to have, we will be having on stage the headline, the Royal Barbados Police Service band will be giving us an hour-long concert. We'll be having Natalie Burt, be having a very youngster coming to the stage, Shea Harden, for the first time. I will be doing a tremendous song. I encourage you to come to hear him. And Mary Clark, a member of the NUPW, she will be on stage and give you a golden song. So we're going to have a DJ for you. We have a number of other treats. I can assure you the Barbados Nurses Association will be on hand to do some health checks. So we have an afternoon of delight. And I encourage Barbadians of all walks of life. It is absolutely free. It's not only going to be an entertainment for you, it's going to be education as well. So come to Freedom Park on Monday from 3 o'clock and have an afternoon that you will remember as a Labor Day event of sheer class.
Indeed. Indeed, a Labor Day event of sheer class on Monday. Mr. O'Neill, before we go, I want to give you an opportunity to tell us, because there is a word afoot that unions are under threat, as you would have acknowledged before. There's that perception. Unions are losing membership and just staying relevant. What would you say is the focus going forward so that that relevance is resurged and people begin to buy into it so that there is a very strong labor movement?
So you really are asking me for a sneak peek into the president's address on Labor Day. I can't do that now, but sufficient to say that I would want to address the accusations. I would want to identify the threats. I would want to answer the critics, and having done that by a process of education via statistics, via reality, I want then to project what is the way forward for labor. Now, great men have gone before us, and I can internationalize the references. Martin Luther King, at the height of the Southern American racism, hate Ku Klux Klan, said he had a dream. He had a dream of an interracial America. He had a dream of browns and blacks living together, building the American society. Nelson Mandela, at the trials in South Africa, said he also had a dream. Now, King did not live to see the fulfillment of his dream, but we who came 50 years later knew of Shirley Chisholm. We now know of Barack Obama. We now know of Vice President Kamala Harris. So I think that at every point, every epoch in life, in civilization, what leaders, whether political or otherwise, must have a dream and must be able to put it out there, and hopefully I will be able to inspire generations now born and generations yet unborn that we must continue to work towards a dream of equality, of fairness, of justice. Where today, unfortunately, capital is being elevated over the dignity of the human spirit. I want, at the end of Labor Day 2022, to inspire some person and or persons that we must continue to press forward to the dream, where the dignity of the human spirit, the dignity of the worker is respected over and above capital. that we build a harmonious and working relationship to make Barbados a better society, so that we do, in fact, not only leave a legacy, but leave a footprint that our children, our grandchildren, and generations yet unborn can walk and move freely and confidently towards building an egalitarian society.
Don't tell me all, because Monday is going to be there to hear it all and to experience it all as well. A Golden Square Freedom Park in town, that's where it's going to be from 3 in the afternoon. All are invited. It's the big Labor Day celebration hosted by C2SAP. Come celebrate the Labor Day rally and concert. Special performance by the Barbados Police Band, Barbados Police Service Band. Educate, agitate, but don't violate. That's where it's going to be.
And Pearson, permit me please, that in the lead up to what became the 1937 uprising revolution, the hallmark, the invitation was meet me in Golden Square. So I go back to 1937 and repeat that mantra to all of Barbados. On Monday, the 2nd of May, 2022, meet the Congress in Golden Square.
All right. Invitation issued, invitation accepted. We'll meet both of you gentlemen and all the Congress of Trade Unions Associations of Barbados in Golden Square this coming Monday. Thank you, gentlemen. All the best.
Thank you for having us.
You're very welcome. C2SAB, May Day celebrations, Labor Day celebrations, Monday, Golden Square from 3 in the afternoon. A break, and we're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
The Barbados Jazz Society, a non-profit organization, continues to work hard to whet our appetite and our excitement and our interest in jazz on the island. And I know you say, jazz, well, that's for certain kinds of people. No, it is not. Jazz was born out of the common experience. I don't want to tell the story. There are two people here who can tell it far better than I can. Dawn Pollard, who is the Public Relations Officer with the Barbados Jazz Society. With her is the Director of the Board of Directors, Horace Grisette. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning, Pearson.
Thank you
for having us.
You're very, very welcome indeed. I started by saying jazz was born out of all of us, the human experience. Can you just, for those who might think it's simply for them, show why it is simply for all of us?
Good morning, Pearson. Perhaps I can come in here. Good morning, Barbados. The Barbados Jazz Society was actually formed in 1993 as a non-profit organization. It has a number of objectives. Firstly, to promote the appreciation of jazz as an art form in Barbados and to cooperate with international entities in promoting that art form. To support the music department of the Barbados Community College and its students in a number of ways. One, in the procurement of instruments and learning materials. 2, in highlighting the skills and talents of individual students and enabling their development as competent artists. We also provide monetary support for students attending Berklee College of Music in Boston, and we currently have one student who is studying a master's degree in music. We also fund jazz musicians in Barbados who are financially challenged, and we also facilitate music workshops in secondary schools.
So that's what you do. And you do a lot to support the idiom here on the island. But its origins and its interest and why it is not simply a specialized sound in some people's ears, but it's one that can ignite a flame in so many others. Perhaps, Dawn, you can talk to me a little bit about the spirit of jazz and why people should not see it as simply something only played by them, but it's something that should be played by all of us.
Jason, thank you for that question. Yes, I remember when I was younger, I always thought of jazz for old people. When you hear jazz, you think, hey, that's for the old people going to enjoy the jazz. But as I got older and my appreciation for music developed, I realized that there's a beat in jazz that you can't help but move to. It kind of brings out that thing in you. You want to listen. And with the Jazz Society, because we are supporting the jazz department at the Barbados Community College with the assistance of Roger Gittins, the young musicians now are actually turning to jazz. They go do all the calypsos, the other types of music, but at the end of the day, they come right back around to jazz. And that is clearly demonstrated by the young group we have at our show this weekend. There are young musicians who just came out to community college and formed a band, and we try to support young musicians as much as possible.
And this show this weekend you're talking about, since you said it, is tomorrow. So tell us a little bit about that before we go back to some other things I want to ask you about. The show tomorrow.
All right. The show tomorrow at a venue called the Highgate Bar and Restaurant. Quite honestly, I have never heard of them before until we went on this location. It's a beautiful area, really, really. And what I would like to say to the attending, yes, we've had this rain and kind of overcast weather, but the venue is covered. What I would say, 2 things I want everybody to remember. 1, bring a jacket because it's going to be cool. Because St. George is normally cool without the weather being and the wind that we're having. And secondly, we are going to follow all protocols for the COVID-19. So either you bring proof of vaccination or you bring your negative PCR test within the last 24 hours.
Sounds good. Go ahead.
Come and ready to listen to some music and enjoy yourselves.
What time is it?
The show is at 6 p.m. There are many things happening tomorrow night, so we're doing it early that you can come. It finishes at 8. It's 2 hours. You're going to be wooed with lovely music. We have the Sugarcane and Jazz Band, which is headed by Dr. Jerome Jones, sorry. And then there is the band Regina. They're the young ones from the community college.
Yes.
And you're going to really enjoy tomorrow.
You started by saying jazz has a beat that is so infectious, it pulls you in and you just want to listen and to enjoy. So I must deliberately phrase it like that because I want people to bring their own ears. Don't come with preconceived ideas or notions. Bring your clean, fresh ears for just a moment to the Highgate Bar and Restaurant there at Dash Valley, St. George tomorrow evening from 6 and just listen, absorb, and then hopefully out of it the experience is so enriching that you want to absorb some more in your own private spaces as well. But Mr. Grisette, in terms of moving jazz into society, into the community, I think when it becomes a almost grassroots, so to speak, flow, that's when we begin to see it grow. So talk to me a little bit about the work of the Barbados Jazz Society in moving it into just normal spaces in society so that jazz is become a part of who we are.
Yeah, this is one of our objectives in that we working towards and hope to continue doing so to promote this appreciation of jazz as an art form. Jazz has been around for many, many years in different forms, especially in the Americas and especially in the South amongst the black populations of that area. And we feel that we need to appreciate this more and to be more involved in it. We would like to invite members of the public to join the Barbados Jazz Society and to help us in achieving these objectives.
Mm-hmm. You know what I see a lot, and I see it sometimes at malls and so forth, where you have certain musicians and they're performing, they do perform jazz too. We tend to think that they only do soca. No, they don't. They also perform jazz. We see softness on the streets in Bridgetown, and they're blowing away beautifully. If we could see more and more of that, and we can interact more and more with that, then we can understand better how jazz is infused in almost everything we do. Isn't it, Don? And that's what you're talking about, where it has its beat that just pulls you in.
Jazz has a beat that when you hear it, when you hear the sax, if you hear the bass, whatever you hear when it comes to jazz, even in the piano, you just can see the pianist, their fingers just caressing those keys, you know, and watching them as they're playing, the musicians, they're off in another world.
Yes.
They're enjoying what they're doing. And that's why it would be really, really nice if, let's say the NCF and the other organizations actually looked at jazz as an art form, but also a level of education for the young musicians. We are a non-profit organization. And if it wasn't for the help of sponsors like Sagicor and Godless Enterprises and CGI, where would we be today? And that's why we do these functions to help raise the awareness of jazz on the island. And we are hoping that the powers that be would look at what we are doing, appreciate more what we are doing, and help us. Yes. We need help. I'm not ashamed to ask for it. We need help. And until we can get the help that we are looking for, support us. Everybody, come out to the show. What I forgot to mention, if you permit me another minute to mention, is that I may not have heard of the Highgate Bar and Restaurant as I have. I hadn't heard of it. So what we have done, the location to the Highgate Bar is at the back of the tickets. So just don't panic. Look at the back of your tickets. You will see the directions drawn out that you can get there easily. Parking is available. We have somebody with guidance for parking. Bring your umbrella just in case, but bring a sweater because it's going to be cool. And bring an open mind and willingness to enjoy the afternoon.
Indeed. Now you said tickets. So where can we get tickets between now and tomorrow?
Available from the members. You can call us. I can give you my cell, 230-1356. Horace, we can give you yours as well. But if you can call me or Horace. Go ahead, Horace.
Mine is 268-1880. But you can also put tickets at.
I'm sorry, I missed it because of technology. Horace, your number again is 268
1804.
1804. Or we can purchase tickets from
at the gate.
You can come to the door. You can come to the gate, but make sure and bring your proof of vaccination and or your negative PCR, your negative rapid test. Right.
Okay, we got to leave it there. So it's a combination of steel and strings. Oh, strings, beautiful. Steel and strings for International Jazz Day, a big concert at the Highgate Bar and Restaurant. Remember, you can call Don Pollard on 230-1356, or you can call Horace himself at 268-1804. And get a ticket, or you can come straight to the door to the Highgate Bar and Restaurant there at Dash Valley, St. George, and get in, but come vaccinated. But if you're in Dash Valley, St. George, ask someone, they will point it out to you. Come enjoy the steel and strings tomorrow evening from 6 as part of the International Jazz Day hosted by the Barbados Jazz Society. Both of you, Thank you so much. I love jazz myself, so I hope that other people themselves get to appreciate as much as we all do. So I encourage everyone and as many of you as possible to be a part, support the Barbados Jazz Society. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
We look forward to welcoming.
Indeed, indeed. We'll take a break here. We're coming back with more on Morning Barbados.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
12 minutes now to go to the hour of 8 o'clock as we turn our attention from grass to masterclass. And that's a series coming soon to your screens right here at TV8. The man behind that program is Sean Green, who is the producer presenter of that actual show. Sean, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning to you, Pearson. Good morning, Barbados.
Indeed, from grass to masterclass. I just like the ring of it alone. So cite us all about what is that about and how we can all be a part of it.
Well, that really is, it's a 5-part series. 15 minutes is the duration of each episode. Mm-hmm. And the idea came out of watching when the West Indies toured England for the Raise the Bat series about 2 summers ago. During the luncheon interval, Michael Atherton and him and another commentator, they were taking some video from some youngsters around the ground. Remember, this is in the middle of COVID. So young people, they couldn't get out and play cricket as they would like. And they were given some videos were submitted to them with some of these youngsters just playing cricket in their backyard and in their communities. And that's where I got the idea from. So that really is what the program is about, where I would have been through a few communities in Barbados and, just get youngsters playing cricket. Now, Pearson, you cannot get more grassroots than playing cricket in your backyard. True. And in your community. I'm sure you had some of those days growing up.
Listen, I played cricket in the gap. I played cricket in the road. I played cricket on the pasture. I played cricket everywhere. And that's the whole point. It's so much a part of who we are as a community. And we played it everywhere. And that's what we're talking about. Taking that novice, so to speak, and moving them up in their skill set.
Exactly. And that is exactly what the show is about. Because some of the submissions that we've gotten, we've asked the parents to allow their children 16 years and under to submit videos. And yeah, you said it, Pearson, a lot of them are novices. We're not asking you to be professionals. Just send your videos. So we do have a lot of novice videos from actual backyards and some gaps, as you said. And the other element in it is that we also have some experts, some past players, and some present coaches and so on, some national players looking and examining these videos and commenting to the youngsters what they can do to improve their technique.
Right. So the videos come in, it's played, it's analyzed by these professionals, and then they offer advice. Then what happens after that? Because my video got played, they said something to me, but how do we track progress? Is there a plan to do that?
Well, if there is a plan, that plan doesn't fit into my program.
But yet.
but yeah, not yet. The objective of the program really is just to highlight that raw talent. And give the youngsters that exposure. The program does tell you the name of the youngsters and which community in Barbados they're coming from. Exactly. And also, there's also an element in the program that also offers, I would call it standalone coaching, where a coach would also come in, or has also come in, I should say, and just to teach or to demonstrate a cricketing drill, how to bowl properly, how to position yourself when you're batting, how to play the cover drive. The cover drive seems to be the most exciting shot by youngsters. Everybody seems to love a cover drive. And there's also some cricket trivia.
Yes.
I know Barbadians are very knowledgeable when it comes to cricket trivia. And there's also a small segment that looks back at Barbadian excellence in cricket. And we have no short of that.
Indeed, no we don't. No we don't. So here it is, folks, From Grass to Masterclass, a series coming to TV8. And we're still encouraging people to submit more videos. We're looking for that, more submissions?
No, not at this time.
I'm pushing you for season 2.
Well, that would be great. Let's see how season 1 goes.
Yes.
It's still available for sponsorship. So it actually starts tomorrow 6:30. As soon as tomorrow 6:30. So we're going to see how this first one goes. I believe it should go well because cricket is still the #1 sport in Barbados. People still love cricket. They still love to play cricket, talk about cricket. And I think this is the first time that we're doing something like this. And it just so happens that we're talking about this a few hours after Q in the community, because I believe that that Q in the community begins with Q. But in CBC, I believe that one of those C's in CBC should stand for community, because of the community outreach that we do and we're continuing to do. So that is what this program is about in terms of sports.
Indeed so, and developing the sport and the love of that sport, cricket, from our community up. And that's where we are, CBC, assisting again in building out a whole set of skill sets and moving the Barbados team to a point where we are winning everywhere, and then on to the West Indies level, and on and on. It becomes not just a pastime, but it could also become quite a career, because these master classes by the masters are going to move your skill sets. So as I've hinted, I really would love all of you, if you can still, you haven't had the opportunity, to send to Sean all of your videos and let our masters look at them, and we push Sean together, shall we, into doing season 2. But starting tomorrow evening at 6:30 right here on TV, and we want to start to watch From Grass to Masterclass. We get to see some young people from our communities and their skill set at cricket, and then we'll see how the masters move it to Masterclass as well. Sean, I'm excited about it. If you are interested, folks, in supporting this initiative, just give our sales and marketing department a call, and let's support the development of cricket at the grassroots level to the masterclass level with us here and Sean through us at CBC. All the best, Sean, with this endeavor. I know it's going to be quite the success it's aimed to be. I can't wait for people to start watching it tomorrow from 6:30 on TV. And will it be every Saturday? What's the frequency?
Yes, every Saturday for the next 5 Saturdays. We're having 5 episodes in this first series. So every Saturday for the next 5 Saturdays from 6:30 p.m. Yes.
Well, that's great, because it will fall right at the conclusion of each weekend's BCA series, which is going to be on 94.7. So I'm glad. So once you listen to that, then you tune into TV8 for this continued series, From Grass to Masterclass with Sean Green. Thank you so much, Sean. All the best.
Thank you, Pearson. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Sean Green, producer, presenter of From Grass to Masterclass, starting tomorrow at 6:30 on TV8. So don't miss it. The little one you see tomorrow on TV could very well be your nephew. And ladies are playing cricket too. I hope we have some entries from the girls as well. And I hope that you can really get to enjoy it. And you yourself perhaps practice some of what you will learn out of it. There's a moment of trivia. You get to meet some interesting people as well as they share their expertise to guide the development of cricket on the island as well. And don't forget, by the way, as I hinted to just now, the BCA season has started last weekend. It started this weekend. It continues Saturday and Sunday. You can hear the commentary on radio 94.7, the best 24/7 for that ultimate Bajan experience. And tomorrow, every Saturday and Sunday at 1:15 in the afternoon, as we go around the grounds to bring you the scores and updates from those cricketing endeavors across the island. So look out for that this weekend as well. And then in the evening from 6:30 on TV8, From Grass to Masterclass for the next 5 weeks. Couple of things I want to remind you of as we head towards the start of our weekend. There's an event coming up tomorrow, Saturday the 30th from 9:30 in the morning. It's the Barbados Association of Administrative Professionals hosting a celebratory seminar in collaboration with their youth arm, the Barbados Association of Future Office Professionals. At that youth seminar, there will be 5 videos of the finalists, and those finalists are Alicia Worrell, Denzel Green, Trinity Clark, Dante Freeman, and Azaria Johnson. And they'll announce the winner of the youth video career presentation. There'll be discussion, a question and answer session right after. It's going to be all on Zoom. That Zoom meeting from 9:30 tomorrow. The details about the Zoom meet right there at the bottom of your screen, the bottom left-hand corner. That's the ID. But you know what? We'll post this on our social media, shall we? My producer, Nadia. That's where you will find that information as well. And you can be a part of this big activity tomorrow morning from 9:30 in support of the Barbados Association of Administrative Professionals in collaboration with their youth arm, the Association of Future Office Professionals. We encourage as many of you as possible to be there. Then the Barbados Trust Fund Limited, we told you about this. Tomorrow, the Trust Affair and Bazaar on the grounds at St. James Parish Church from 9 in the morning till 4. While there, you'll get free samples from fruit wines, jewelry, express makeovers, and haircuts from the Frederick Smith students. It's absolutely free to be there, but while you're there, you get to interact with a number of those people who would have benefited through the support of the Barbados Trust Loan Fund. And here's hoping that in doing so, you buy, because in buying, you're supporting entrepreneurship and generational success as well. So do go to the grounds of St. James Parish Church tomorrow, all day long from 9 in the morning, right through till about 4, and lend your support, browse, take your time, get to know more, interact with them. They'd love to hear from you. You, after all, are the purchasers of the product. They'll want to know how they can develop better that particular product as well. I also want to say thank you to all of you who joined us yesterday, as well as we brought you live the Humanitarian Awards, the inaugural, and congratulations to all of you recipients of the inaugural of the Humanitarian Awards, and all of you who have deserved it well. So congratulations to all of you as well, and we look forward to part 2, as the Prime Minister has hinted, when other people would be recognized for their contribution to the continued efforts of the pandemic here in Barbados. Many of them receiving their insignia yesterday. Their pins, lapel pins, some received medals, and a whole host of plaques as well, as agencies and companies and countries were recognized. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us all week long. I've had Nadia Foster, my producer, Roel Ford, our technical director, Christopher Blendman, and Michael Sobers all week long as well. Tamisha Green, as ever, has been at Master Control. I'm Pearson Bowen. Thank you for joining us, and hoping we'll see you again on Tuesday. Remember, Monday is a public holiday, where we once again meet you for Morning Barbados. Until then, have a wonderful weekend, and remember, walk, let your heart lead the way. Until then, bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you.